Welcome back. It is time for a vlog. I can't help but dripping this stuff. So my own DIY strawberry, and it is just great. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another quick vlog. Try and keep these short. Let's start off with some news. Try and keep on top of stuff going on in the news in the vaping business and industry, hobby, whatever you want to call it, and always try and give you some up-to-date news. So I research it and find it and read it to you, so you give you the synopsis so you don't have to. Let's start off with the first one. So France, which I don't know, I always think of, you see Paris and you always think of them with cigarettes all the time. Everybody's smoking cigarettes. I think that's not just something you see in movies. I think it really is like that still there. But France apparently thinks plain cigarette packs will help people kick the smoking habit. So where is this from? This is from The Verge. A new law will strip cigarette packs of all their branding, and tobacco companies aren't very happy about it. Few countries are synonymous with smoking as France, where cigarettes, like something else, are as much a part of the cultural fabric as croissants and labor strikes. But cigarettes sold in the country will soon have a different face very soon, thanks to a new law that will strip them of all branding. Last week, the French Health Ministry announced that all tobacco shops will have to sell cigarettes in plain, logo-free packaging by the end of this year under a new law. So they think that it'll get kids to stop buying it, and I guess it won't look as attractive to anybody. If you're a smoker, I don't think you're going to care much about the package. In fact, I would say you want it for a cheaper price. They don't have to print as much ink on the package, right? So they think that'll get people to stop smoking. Hey, if it works, that's fine. It sounds a little silly to me, but whatever. If it gets people to stop smoking, maybe if that law doesn't apply to vaping, maybe e-juice bottles, can try and look really fancy now, and that'll attract people and get them off the cigarettes that way. So who knows? That's a weird one, but there you go. New England Journal of Medicine. Here in the United States, New England Journal of Medicine is a very prominent publication, medical publication. This one is Evidence Policy and E-Cigarettes. Will England refrain from the debate? England? Yeah, England. Where is it? Right here. Tobacco control advocates have been embroiled in a multi-year controversy over whether e-cigarettes threaten the goal of future reducing tobacco smoke or offer the possibility of minimizing harm for people who cannot or will not quit smoking conventional cigarettes. England and the United States now have staked out very different positions. The international landscape was dramatically reshaped in August of 2015 when Public Health England, PHE, an agency of England's Department of Health, released a groundbreaking report, E-Cigarettes, an Evidence Update. With its claim that e-cigarettes are 95% less harmful than combustible cigarettes, the report attracted headlines internationally. It recommended that smokers who cannot or will not quit tobacco try e-cigarettes and expressed great concern that the public perceived the two products as posing equal risks. This is wonderful. This is great news that for a major publication to put something like this out. Let's see, what else here? Potential health, stating that these devices potentially offer a wide-reach, low-cost intervention to reduce smoking and improve health in these more deprived groups in society where smoking is elevated. That's wonderful. Another wonderful news for any major organization in any country to say, e-cigarettes are 95% safer. That's wonderful. I think that's great, and stuff like that is what we need to see more of, the government doing that. What do I got here? I don't know what I'm vaping on with this one, but so that's wonderful. I think that's the more good news like this that I see is wonderful. Here's one by Reason.com, which seems to be a pretty good site. Free minds and free markets. I've gotten quite a bit of news from them. They try and give you, from what I can see, very clear, honest explanations of things. Lying about Snus and e-cigarettes is like blocking access to clean heroin needles. Snus, S-N-U-S, is, I guess that's, like chewing tobacco? I'm not sure. I know snuff is the stuff people sniff, right? Snus, I guess, is what they call, I don't even, so let's look that up. I've never heard it called that. But I don't, do chewing tobacco or anything like that. Snus. Yeah, right? Snus, Swedish, is a moist powdered tobacco product orienting for a variety of dry snuff. In the early 18th century, it is placed under the upper lip for extended periods. Okay, so, that's what I never knew it was called Snus. I don't use that. That's, I guess, what the baseball players all use, right? Anyway, back to the story. In a blistering indictment of lying in the name of public health, two prominent tobacco researchers slam medical organizations and government agencies for suppressing information about huge differences in risk between cigarettes and other nicotine products. Writing in the International Journal of Drug Policy, Lynn Kozalski, a public health professor at the State University of New York in Buffalo, and David Sweiner, an adjunct law professor at the University of Ottawa, argue that the quasi-official information quarantine, which is what it seems like. It seems like our government here in the United States and other places almost don't want you to know, how good e-cigarettes are and vaping is compared to cigarettes. It's like they don't want to tell people. And, that's why that other article I just read is so great. Because they are getting, that was an organization publishing something, getting the word out there. So anyway, quasi-official information quarantine surrounding smokeless tobacco and e-cigarettes endangers people's lives based on implausible concerns coupled with emotionally charged moral reactions of disgust and contempt. It's almost like the government is trying to make e-cigarettes seem bad by not telling you how good it is. Back in 2003, Kowalski and another co-author looked at what the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administrations were saying about smokeless tobacco. So this was back then. And they were just pointing out how many organizations say that smokeless tobacco, they were using that more often in these examples, is no safer than cigarettes. We know that it is. When people place tobacco in your mouth, you're more likely to get mouth cancer, but you're much likely, or maybe even impossible, to get lung cancer, which is what most people, I believe, die from in all tobacco. So anyway, they were reviewing sites and saying how these sites are basically lying about the claims that these days we know that smokeless tobacco and especially e-cigarettes are many, many, many times safer than smoking, but they don't tell you this stuff. Last fall, Kowalski and Sweiner revisited the CDC and SAMHSA sites, another organization, and this time they also considered information provided by the Mayo Clinic, the National Cancer Institute, and the American Cancer Society. They found the Mayo Clinic was still incorrectly telling people smokeless tobacco is no less dangerous than cigarettes, while the SAMHSA and NCI provided no cigarette comparative risk information that might help correct public misunderstandings. And the ACS site was the best of the lot, saying smokeless tobacco products are less lethal than cigarettes, but did not give any comparisons. So, these people, these two experts in the field, basically are saying government agencies don't want to tell you that there are safer alternatives. And why? Why do they lie about these things? Probably because big tobacco, sponsors senators and governors and everybody else in their campaigns. And, hopefully that's not true. And I'm not accusing anybody of anything. It's just that's the common thinking. It's about money. And, they don't want things that will hurt them. Gawker, popular site. Your Vape, Your Voice, Gawker's 2016 GOP presidential town hall. I guess they're trying to set up something here to get the candidates to talk about vaping and how that's changing the tobacco industry. To Senator Ted Cruz, Governor John Kasich, and businessman Donald Trump, Gawker is proud to invite you, this is like an official on their website invite, to its 2016 GOP presidential town hall, Your Vape, Your Vote. We want to provide a forum for an open, transparent discussion about the future of vaping regulation, an issue near and dear to the country's 10 million devoted e-cigarette users. As Americans for Tax Reform, founder Grover Norquist said just this past Friday, I think that the next election at the presidential level and and a lot of other levels is going to determine the vaping community. We don't know what if you're not in the United States, I'm sure you've seen what's going on in our elections right now. We're not even at the point of electing, of the candidates running for president. We're still trying to determine in the two major parties who's going to be the leader in those parties, and it's pretty pathetic. I'm not going to say who I'm interested in. I'm not going to get into that because people either love you or hate you when you talk about that stuff. But, it almost seems like a joke what goes on, the insults, the childishness that goes on in this country, especially this year more than any year that I have ever known, and people who study this stuff have said ever. It's ridiculous. But I certainly haven't heard anything by the candidates about e-cigarettes and vaping and what they think of it. But basically, Gawker is kind of inviting them to express their opinions about it. So that's good because I certainly would like to hear the opinions of the candidates and what they believe on that. And this last story I thought was, this was funny. There is U.S. Representative Duncan Hunter. I'll show this picture here. Let me save this image while I'm viewing it so I can throw it in later on for you to see. This was he senator? What did I say? Congressman. This congressman was, on the floor of Congress here, seen vaping, and that made the news here. And nothing wrong with it. It's a good thing. It's like Leo DiCaprio, showing him vaping and stuff. It's good. It gets it out there that this is a safe alternative, and it's more publicly accepted. Well, this was funny. Vaping Congressman accused of spending campaign funds on $1,300 worth of Steam games. So it seems like, I wonder if he's even old enough to vape. It seems like he's like a 15-year-old. U.S. Duncan Carter is under fire, or I don't know, whatever the e-cigarette equivalent of a flame is, for allegedly spending campaign money on Steam games on over 60 occasions. Vapor, Steam, something, blowing smoke, facing heat. Look, I just want to get all these puns out of the way from the get-go. This is the writer of this story, who is, I don't even see his name here. Who cares? Anyway, Representative Duncan Hunter, Republican from San Diego County, previously rose to short-lived internet fame for this video of him smoking an e-cigarette during a congressional hearing. The hearing, by the way, concerned a ban on e-cigarettes in public aircraft. Yes, I vape, blah, blah, blah. Now he's under fire because he's playing too many Steam games, and he's using our tax dollars that people, not tax dollars, but donations that were given to him for his campaign to buy Steam games. So unless playing those Steam games, I don't know, maybe he's playing it on Twitch, and he's broadcasting himself, and he's using that to promote his campaign, in which case I'm fine with it. If while he's doing that, he's vaping, playing World of Warcraft or whatever people play on Steam these days and Twitch, and he's vaping and saying, elect me, then I'm fine with it, no problem. But I thought that was funny that he's in trouble for that. So good for him. Play those Steam games; they're relaxing. So what am I vaping on today? So like I said, I'm vaping on some of my homemade strawberry there. I got what is this? This is Happy Tongue Tropical Snowman in this thing here. Going back and forth and drip and loaded. Still enjoying that. If you haven't checked out my video on that, got juice all over there. If you haven't checked out my video on that, check it out. People seem to like it. I had a donut vaping in that one. And still got some faded apple that's not so faded from Big Lou. Then I've been playing around with this thing still. This is that AIO. And I got just some mixed stuff that I threw in there. that hard draw is hard to get used to. But I think I got a cereal vape in here, so every once in a while I go back to it. And I'm like, oh, cereal vape. Take 2 or 3 hits off of this, and I'm like, I'm tired of this cereal vape. So, little follow up on the review I did of this. You notice it's red inside when you fire it. I didn't know you could change the color. And I was watching one of Vic, one of his live shows, and somebody in his chat was telling him how to do it. So what you do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turns off. You press and hold it. It goes solid, and then you can toggle through the colors. And you also have the option to turn it off at that point. You can have it off. So I've been using it on red, so it matches. Look at that. Doesn't it look cool? All right. So there you go. So I've been vaping on that. Color change. This is a follow-up to the review on this. This is the Lazimo Leissimo S3. This is a dual 18650 without pulse-regulated modulation, pulse width modulation. And I was in the review, I was saying how much I like it because of how quick the hit is. Well, one thing, you have to change in batteries, maybe 15 times, 20 times since I got it. One thing about which I believe is a factor of it not having pulse width modulation is that as the battery power goes down, you have to increase the power to get the same hit. When you're using a device with pulse width modulation, it's pulsing, and I believe it's amping up the pulse. And I'm not an expert on this, so this is not fact. This is my opinion. What I believe is happening. It's amping up the power and increasing that pulse to keep the wattage the same. With this, if I'm vaping on this on 45 watts right now, once the batteries are more than halfway down, I notice I might have to bump up to 50 or 52 to get the same hit off of that. So that's just something I want to follow up on that. Still love the device, but you got to know when you're vaping with it and you start feel like you're not getting a hit. You look at it, you realize your battery's going low. You got to bump up that power a little bit. So that's that. Follow up to this, that loaded e-juice that I did. Notice one thing with this is it really gunks up your cotton if you're dripping it. So if you're using it in a tank, it's going to happen the same way. But when I drip it, and I got a dripper with it somewhere. Here we go. It really does. This is pretty new cotton in there. I put that in, I don't know, earlier today. What is it? It's currently 7:30 on a Sunday. I put this in like 10 a.m. I think. So it's still good. But if I leave this, by the time I come back tomorrow morning, I really got to replace that cotton, or the flavor is really not too good. So that juice is gunking up the cotton a little bit. So you probably want to change your cotton every day on that if you are dripping it. If you're putting it in a tank, obviously you're not going to change your coil every day for $3, $4, $5 coil. But just be advised, you're probably gonna it's gunking up the cotton in there too. So it's the kind of thing you want to put it in a tank and just use it and know that you're probably going to change that coil sooner rather than later. You might have also noticed I got a Greenscreen back there now. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I was thinking what I would start doing is slide over to the side here, and then when I'm doing reviews, maybe put all the technical information up there. Specs on devices, stuff like that, websites where you can find stuff. So playing around with that, seeing how that works out. I didn't want to do a whole green screen covering the whole back like some people do. I've seen some other reviewers lately say that they've changed their background, changed where they're doing their reviews, and suddenly people write in saying, "Hey, what'd you do that? We don't like seeing that. We like seeing your gear in the back, or we like seeing your bedroom where you were, or wherever you were doing your reviews." So I think I'm going to keep that there, keep fooling around with that. Let me know if you think that's good, if you like that. Just curious. Going to do what I want anyway. But and lastly, I wanted to get this person to tell me, and I don't remember his name, but I wanted to get him to say, yeah, it's okay for me to put these pictures up, but I'm going to put them up anyway because it's nothing personal. Like this was somebody over on Vaporium, and if you're not a member of Vaporium, I'll put a link below. Go check them out. They're really great forum. A lot of us on there. I think they're up to about 3,000 people right now, And it's a great place to share information, ask questions, just chat. You know, people get up every morning, go in there, say good morning, tell them what they're vaping on for the day. I'm going to put a link on to this video in there, and they're just really great. Well, he posted this, that he had an iStick 100 temperature control TC with some Sony VTC5 batteries in it, and he had it on the couch next to him, and he started hearing something. Didn't realize what it was at first, I guess. Looked down, and the thing was venting, and the batteries burnt. So you can see these pictures. I'll throw them up there now. Yeah, so this was one of the, a new iStick 100 TC and VTC 5s, and this thing vented on them. That's pretty dangerous. And so it started a discussion on there in another post about leaving your mod with your batteries in it. Now, up until I saw that video for years, take this mod, I'm vaping on it. I put it down. I take this mod, vaping on it. Ooh, a lot of strawberry spit back. It's good, but that's sweet. Better. I put it down. Now it's my bedtime, 7:30, 8:30, more like 10:30 at night. I get up, I walk around all these computer screens, I go upstairs, I go to sleep. And I leave them. They're sitting here on my desk, they're standing up, and they're just sitting there. Well, after watching that video, after that whole discussion we had, and actually I think it was before the discussion, but after I saw those pictures, I'm lying in bed that night, and I start thinking about that picture, and I start thinking, my mods are sitting down here on my desk. My bed, straight up there, or a few feet over that way, but right there, over my office. My kids' bedrooms are over there and over there. I got 2 smoke alarms in here. I got one up there because I have a lot of computers in here. And there's the hot water heater. So I got another carbon monoxide detector in there. And these are not smoke detectors. They're heat detectors, when you say a smoke alarm, but they detect heat because my vaping does not ever set them off, and this room fogs up, all right? So I start thinking, well, I'll hear it if they start to vent, but by the time the flames are hitting the ceiling, that might be a little too late. And it really started to scare me. So lying in bed, I just couldn't, trying to convince myself that this stuff's been here for years like this, but, it got to me where I had to just get out of bed. I hate doing that. Had to get out of bed, go downstairs, and take the batteries out. So now, since then, I've been taking the batteries out, laying them down next to the mod, and then just leaving the mod there, and every morning putting them back in. And it's a hassle, but when you compare it to the slight chance of these things venting in the middle of the night and setting my office and house on fire, I think it's worth it. And I've come to the conclusion that I am going to empty all 18 650 batteries out of my mods every single night. During the day, you're awake. If you're in the other room, something happens, you're here, you're alert, you can respond. But I'm going to start taking them out. Now, I'm the kind of person, I don't ever, where's my stuff here? I don't ever travel without batteries being in cases. Okay, and you can see I got all my batteries in my cases, and this is the way you should always have your batteries if they're not in a device. I have one sitting on shelves, but they're just sitting there standing up. It really started to worry me seeing those pictures and thinking about this and thinking about the safety of it, and I'm going to be taking my batteries out every night. Just because if something like that and a newer device can just vent sitting on the couch next to somebody, the idea of it doing it in the middle of the night when it's sitting on my desk is scary. Especially if you have children, you know what I mean. You think about that, much more than if it's just yourself in a house or an apartment. You think of, when you're young, you don't have kids, or if you don't think about it nearly as much. When you have kids, family, you think about what happens if this goes off. Sorry, you're hearing that chat stuff coming in now. But so I'm going to start taking my batteries out of there. I don't know how you feel about that. Do you take your batteries out? Do you, seeing pictures like that on a newer device venting like that, does that change your thinking about it? I'm curious because, we don't need to make more anti-vaping news and have this on the news. Although who knows if it vents, maybe I could sue somebody like all these people do, make millions of dollars. But that's in America. That's the thing. Just sue somebody for everything. Don't take responsibility for yourself. Just have something go wrong, sue somebody, and make $1 million. So. Anyway, that did worry me a little bit, and that's going to be my new philosophy on these batteries, is take them out at night. Don't leave them in a charger. In a charger, I feel safer. At least the charger is doing its job. It's charging, and then once it gets to a certain level, it cuts off the charge. So I'm not as worried about leaving batteries charging overnight in a decent charger. Get yourself a good charger, all right? Have some decent chargers, and I wouldn't worry about it as much in there. But leaving it in a device, that's worrying me. And anyway, that's too much about that. Also, wrapping. Make sure your wraps are always good. And if you don't know about wrapping, check my video on wrapping batteries. Extremely simple. They're dirt cheap. 20 cents for or less for some battery wraps. It's an important thing. There you go. That's my vlog for today. Hopefully, I have a bunch of things. I haven't reviewed much hardware lately. I haven't had much coming in. I think I have about 6 or 7 or 8 things coming in this week, I hope. So hopefully we'll have some new reviews up there soon. And, there's a lot of new tanks out there that are looking good. Where is it? I got a lot of screens here, so I never know what screen my information is on. It takes a lot of time. You got the iJoy Tornado, the Hercules RTA, the Billow V3, the Boreas RTA, you got the Wismic Theorome, you got the Wismic Indie Duo RTA, all this stuff I'm hoping to have in the next week or so, and try and get a bunch of those up there. These high capacity, big deck RTAs are what's in right now. That's the rage, all these rebuildables. So hopefully I'll have a bunch of these coming in. And I know, there's a few reviews out for those already, but that's what I want to get for myself into review. And so there you go. If you haven't subscribed, this is your first time watching my vlog, please subscribe. The more subscribers, the easier it makes it for me to get and review stuff for you, which I like doing, so that you can get fair reviews about it before you go out and buy it yourself and waste your hard-earned money. I'm trying to waste my hard-earned money for you because this is my hobby and I enjoy it. So there you go. And by the way, I was just watching one of Vic. If you know Vic, what's the name of his channel? Vaping with Vic. Vaping with Vic's rants about an e-juice manufacturer who contacted him because they weren't happy about his e-juice review, and saying, "Can you please take it down?" And when something like that comes into me, I mean, anything, whether it's work related or vaping related, I get pissed. I don't like that. People have attitudes and they don't like, you didn't give them a good review, and then they don't like it. And well, too bad. Maybe I didn't like your product. You're allowed to do that. And he said they asked him to take down the video, and he spoke to, he didn't answer, and they asked it again. So then he took it down. He just didn't want to deal with it. And I understand that. But then he regretted it. And they also said to him, by the way, don't mention it to anybody that asks you why you took down the video. So in his last What's Up video, he mentioned it. He kind of expressed regret for taking it down, saying he did it because he just didn't want to deal with it right now. But he said, why he took it down and why he thinks that company wanted him to take it down. And, he called them out on it. And he mentioned them plenty times over, letting them know that company asked him to take it down. Do I have the name of the company here? Fat Vapor, maybe? Nah. Let's see. Let me check real quick.
Yeah, some of you will remember, if you pay attention to the juice reviews that I do, that I done a review for an e-liquid company, and the company's called Doozy Vape Co. They're based out...
Doozy Vape Co. or Doozy Vape Company. Yeah, so they, asked him, take down the review, and so anyway, he eventually did, but then he called him out on here saying why, and, you got to remember these companies, how they treat reviewers, and not as much me. I'm not as big a reviewer as Vic and these guys getting as much stuff as they do sent into for review, and it's a lot of work, reviewing this stuff in terms of testing things honestly. Time juice is easier. You try it, you like it, you try and describe it and stuff like that. But I just wanted to shout out to him. Not that Vic is watching my puny little videos. But good for him for calling them out and making it known what they did. And if a company ever came back to me and said to me, can you take that down? I would say something, or I reviewed it on my own if I bought it, and that's my opinion, and that's it. You don't have to like it. It's nothing illegal about it. It's not slander. It's your opinion. I just think he did a good thing, in going out there and saying, hey, I took it down, but this company asked me to take it down, and this is why I believe they asked me to take it down, and I'm not going to, if you have a problem with me reviewing an honest review of your product, don't ask. So, good for him. If you're not familiar with Vaping with Vic, go ahead and check out his channel. Just Google that. I'm sure it'll come right up, and there you go. So, once again, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Glad to see you again, even though I can't see you, but you can see me, but you know what I mean. And have a great week.